Hello cookies, it's Siri, I am back, and today we're going to talk about the material things that have made my life much better as an intern and as an office worker working as a sustainability strategist. Also, today is the 31st of December, so you probably hear some moronic fireworks. My dog is here. She might stand up every now and again to get cuddles because she gets extremely stressed. Fireworks are bad for the environment, for pets, for humans. I just saw an article, someone lost their finger today doing fireworks here in Leipzig, and I know that all over the world emergencies are filled with people hurting themselves with fireworks. They're expensive, they're bad for your lungs, there's just nothing good about them. I have seen a lot of no buy, low buy, no consumerism videos on my feed this year, which is really good. It's so good for your wallet, for your mental health, for the environment, but also there are some purchases that are quite good to do and to have. I haven't purchased that much stuff this year, so I will gather the things that I purchased from the fall 2024 when I started my internship as a sustainability strategist at the hospital until very recently because I just could not find enough stuff. The first thing that has drastically improved my life is warm stockings that are made of wool, or at least 60% wool, and also socks. I discovered in the past couple of weeks that if there's a bit of acrylic in the wool socks or stockings, they survive better in the washing machine and I don't have to worry as much. On the contrary, cashmere socks and stockings were a really poor investment because they started to get holes very quickly, as in I think the second time that I wore them, it might have been that they were bad quality. I would never buy from that brand where I bought them from ever again, because I am so pissed at how they handled my request when I sent them a question and photos, and I told them that I file my toenails, I have short toenails, my shoes aren't very tight, and yet their stockings died after 2 times, which is really not sustainable, even though it's supposed to be a sustainable company. Either that company is trash, or not trash, but their products could be better, or it's just that cashmere socks and stockings don't last that long. There's a German brand called Falke that I am pleased with. I think they do work on their sustainability, but to be very transparent, I'm not entirely sure of their sustainability rating. They have a lot of sustainability stuff on their website and they do seem to be okay, but for me what makes the item sustainable is that I've had Falke stockings for 5 years and sometimes one stocking for one whole winter, and they've lasted really well. I just recently purchased 2 new ones, so socks that are over knee and then stockings, because the ones that I have started to get holes that I cannot repair. As you know, cookies, I mend my own clothes, so I don't mind if there's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes, but as soon as it's 10, or if the holes are getting holes of holes, then I know that I just can't continue mending them anymore. But in general, I feel like their things last very long, especially since I wash them at least once a year. No. No, not once a year, once a week when I'm working or when I was an intern. The most amazing thing with them is that they do keep me warm, of course, but I can wear them up to 3 to 6 times if I'm not doing anything intensive and if it's super cold outside. Like for example, if I'm just staying here in the apartment the whole week because maybe I have my period or I'm sick and just walk in Leica and it's -degrees outside, I can wear them up to 6 times. When I'm at work, I wear them 3 times before I wash them, and unless you have really sweaty feet, and for me that is not the case because I'm always freezing anyway, they can last really long. I mean, some outdoor adventure websites say even up to 10 wears. In Sweden, I live in places where you have a communal laundry room that you have to book in advance, and it's always so freaking stressful because you need to make sure you get a time, and sometimes you get squeezed in between people and someone takes 1 hour to pick up their clothing, so you're there waiting, and then someone starts earlier, so your time is cut super short, and that is always so freaking stressful for me. And so having 3 pairs of stockings that I know I can use at least 3 times, I know that okay, if I don't get laundry time this week, I can wait until next week and it's going to be fine. Also, it's just super nice not to have to freeze. When I first moved to Sweden, I had no idea about stockings, so I would buy those regular sexy stockings. I'm not entirely sure what they're called, but those really thin ones that you can even wear during the summer. So they are very sheer and they don't really protect, and they're so slippery. And I think they're most of the time made of plastic something, if not acrylic, it's nylon, or I think it's, yeah, mostly nylon. It's so uncomfortable and it starts to smell and it's so tight on the body. Oh, I really don't like it. So it was a miracle for me to discover wool stockings, because it's made a whole world of difference for me when it's the fall, the winter and spring, because I tend to freeze during those seasons. Also, a quick aparté, this camera right here, the DJI camera that I have been using to film for the past 3 months, is so good. It's really convenient, but it's been a pain editing my videos for the past 3 months because I've looked so freaking ugly, cookies. I have no idea what this thing does to my face. I know that I don't look super cute all the time when I'm tired, and especially in Sweden with that crazy freaking landlord of mine. I do look exhausted, and I think my face tends to drop when I'm exhausted, like, huh? But at the same time, I know that I don't look that ugly in real life. So this camera makes me look way worse than in real life. So now I have my real camera and borrowing Sebastian's fancy lens, because Sebastian has tons of really nice lenses. So I'm like, for once, cookies, before I go back to Sweden in 2 days, I want to look proper in my videos. So this is a really good camera, but it makes me look so freaking ugly, which is really annoying when editing the videos, because I see my face and I'm like, I don't even look like this. Am I actually really ugly? I thought I was a bit cute. So the second item is very similar, and it is long sleeve tops and turtlenecks, made mostly of wool, sometimes with a silk blend. They keep me warm, but when I sweat on the regional train or on the bus going to work, because for some weird reason I can be freezing outside, and then I get into public transportation and then I sweat this weird, cold, annoying, sticky sweat, and then I get to work and I'm freezing in my sweat. It is so freaking annoying. It is so uncomfortable. And when I wear wool or wool, sounds good, wool and silk, wool. I should trademark that. But when I wear wool or wool and silk, it feels better because it dries much quicker. If I sweat in them a lot, then I have to wash them straight away, because then they just feel uncomfortable. They don't smell, but they feel a bit greasy. It also might be because I wear a lot of moisturizer. It is so good to have those long sleeve turtlenecks or long sleeve tops that are tied to the body during the winter, that are warm, but they are lightweight. Because I travel between Germany and Sweden, I cannot carry a lot of heavy stuff, because in the trains you have to put them above the thingy, and then it's so difficult. I am just annoyed because there's this one controller between Hamburg and Copenhagen that is such a mean freaking old man. He's just so mean and so rude. Like, he talks to me like I'm 5 years old. He has no respect. I cannot pack a lot of heavy stuff. I can just have my warm wool or wool silk blend underneath, and then one sweater, and then I'm good for work. I can also do the same with just one layer and then my blazer, and then I'm good for work, instead of having 3 or 4 as I used to have before. It's much lighter, much nicer, and I don't need to laundry them as often either. As I said, 3 times for me before I need to get them washed. And if I'm here at home and not planning on meeting anyone, I can stretch it up to 5, 6 times, and they really don't smell. And now I'm curious, cookies, because I know that a lot of you watching my videos are interested in sustainability, or how to live a more eco-friendly life, or how to save money. What are the items that you have bought last year or this year that have saved you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of stress, that have improved your health, that have improved your life? I'm always on the lookout for new items, not to just buy mindlessly, but sometimes, you know, some people are like, oh, have you not gotten one of these? And then they insert an item and you're like, maybe it would make my life easier. And most of the time it doesn't, because it's very people specific. But every now and again someone tells you about something that really is life changing, and you're like, wow, how have I lived my life without this? So if you have any items like that, cookies, let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm always looking for things that can improve my life. The one thing though that has improved my winter experience is tube scarves. I don't know how people deal with scarves. I don't know how to tie them properly. I don't know how people keep them in place. I don't know, they're just so bulky, they're so uncomfortable, they're never long enough to roll enough around my neck. I don't know if I'm making sense, but Scarves for me are so difficult to wear, and there's always like a weird gap somewhere where the wind is going and I'm thinking, oh, then I cannot move my head because the scarf is holding my head up tight like this. But if it's not tight, then I'm freezing, and then they just fall, and when they fall it's disgusting because I have a wool scarf usually, or cashmere sometimes, and then it's dirty and you're like, freak me. Do I need to wash this thing? It's just nasty. Tube scarves have really changed and improved my winter experience. They're just so easy. You put them around your head and tada! They stay in place, they're comfortable, they're light, it's so good. One thing though is that I currently have two of them. One is wool and one is cashmere. I would not recommend cashmere for weather that is under 5 degrees Celsius because I still feel cold sometimes with them. If I have a turtleneck that is a wool turtleneck, and then if I have a sweater that is more or less turtleneck, that is wool or cashmere or wool blend or wool cashmere blend, then it's okay with just a tube one. But if it's just a cashmere one, then it's really not enough, and so the wool one is much better. So in the future I will just stick to wool because it's cheaper than cashmere, it's easier to wash, it survives washes much better, and it also keeps warmer. So I think if you don't have any tube scarf and you're thinking about it, do not go for cashmere, go for wool or wool blend because it's much better on all aspects. Unless you really find some very thick cashmere, expensive, but if you have the budget and if you find really, really, really thickly layered cashmere, then that would be good. But I have not seen any really thick cashmere, at least in my budget cookies, because there's probably some really thick cashmere out there. But if you are also on a tighter budget like me, then I think wool is the best bet. The final item is my pajama set from Kalida, a Swiss brand that I have talked about before. Now, I have not bought pajamas since 2017. The place where I used to live when I was an intern was extremely cold. The place where I currently live right now in Sweden is extremely cold, and I'm always freezing at night. Of course, I can wear layers and a hat and socks and stuff, but sometimes I just don't want to have tons of stuff on me. Those pajamas have just been so good. They've made me so freaking happy. They've kept me warm. They don't smell. I can wear them for a long time before they start getting nasty, and they survive getting washed in the washing machine and dried in the dryer every week. And I have worn them almost every week, not in the summer, but I wear them for spring, winter, and fall, and they've been so good, such good quality. They have kept their shape. I am really pleased. Of course, the Kalida pajama sets are not really affordable, but for me, I've wanted a pajama set for many years, for one, so I knew that it was something that I was saving money for, and also I waited for a massive sale, and I would like a second set, mostly because sometimes when I wash them and they don't get dry, I have to wear something else, and I still have old pajamas and t-shirts and stuff like that, but then it's cold and it's not as comfortable, the cotton is not as soft. Yeah, it's more between a need and a want. So I'm not entirely sure, but I would like a second set. I know that those purchases might seem quite expensive, but at the same time, I do not buy clothes very often. I do not drink alcohol. I do not order takeaway. I'm pretty sure the last time I ordered takeaway was when I was still with my Swedish ex living in Stockholm 5 years ago, or even longer than that. So I have not done takeaway anything. I don't go eat out at restaurants. I don't buy coffee or anything. I don't drink coffee. I rarely take the public transportations here in Leipzig. I stay mostly at home and I go to the gym. And if I need something, then Sebastian goes because he has the monthly card. In Sweden, I pay for the monthly card because I go to work. But then again, there I have a salary, so I can actually afford to use public transportation, and there are a lot more other things that I do not do, so I don't have subscriptions. And when I buy items, it's to make my everyday life better. It's not for short happiness, or that's how I call it. For me, sustainability isn't about buying nothing or buying 100% from very sustainable companies, because some of the items I purchased are bought from companies that are okay to really not super good for the environment. But it's items that I keep for many years, that I only have one of each, but then I don't have a duplicate color, I don't have a version in cotton, I don't have a version in polyester, I only have one of it. So for example, I have exactly one brown t-shirt and I have this brown long sleeve top, and I don't have anything else that is brown. So I would see maybe a brown long sleeve top out in the open and be like, oh, this looks nice, but I already have one. No. Oh, this brown t-shirt is nice. Oh, I already have a brown t-shirt. No. So I'm really careful with my money, and I'm very strategic, and I usually know what I need and what I want, and I don't mind hunting for many months or years sometimes for one item that I want. And then I know that, okay, I have saved for 8 months. This is the stuff that I want. I still don't buy very, very expensive because budget. I know people who tell me, oh my God, you buy such expensive stuff like cashmere and wool. And I say, yeah, but you buy stuff every month. Has there been a month in the last 2 years where you have not purchased anything? And they go, no, and I'm like, yeah, exactly, and this is why I can afford stuff and you think it's expensive because you have tons of really cheap stuff and I have very few good quality things. It's not expensive like some of them I got on sale. This blazer is a gift from an ex-friend of mine that she found in the trash. Like she told me she found it in the trash here in Leipzig, like in the trash bin, trash, not even like, oh, here, have it, but trash. Dirt trash. So I've taken it to some networking events when I was networking for my company, and I've gotten a lot of compliments actually, and people are always surprised when I say that this was literally in the trash. It's mango, but I don't really feel bad about it because it was trash. Someone threw it in the trash can. That's the end of this video. I wish you a fantastic 2026 filled with a lot of peace and health and happiness. And I will see you cookies very, very soon. Bye!